The trouble began with a knock that wasn't polite. It was a sharp, demanding triple rap, the kind that screams someone's about to ruin your day. I opened the door to find three strangers on my porch, standing like they owned the ground beneath them. The woman in front, Evelyn, had a face carved from years of petty power plays, her eyes narrowed with the kind of smugness you only get from too many town hall meetings and a clipboard fetish. Flanked by a guy who looked like he'd spent his life policing parking lots, and another woman with a perm so rigid it could deflect bullets, they didn't bother with introductions. "You're trespassing," Evelyn snapped, brandishing a violation notice like it was a court summons. I leaned against the doorframe, half amused, half annoyed, and said, "What is this, a courtroom drama?" That lit a match under her. Evelyn, it turned out, was the ringleader of the Pine Hollow Community Enhancement Committee, a title so pretentious it could have had its own letterhead. They claimed my backyard shed, a rickety thing my grandpa built in the 70s, was sitting on their communal land in Pine Hollow, a sleepy suburb outside Seattle. Never mind that I'd owned this plot since 2019, inherited from my grandpa who'd held the deed since the Eisenhower era, or that their precious HOA boundary stopped at the stream 50 feet from my property line. Their evidence? A smudged, photocopied map that looked like it was drawn by a caffeinated squirrel. I pointed out the fax-me deed was ironclad. Their jurisdiction ended at the water, but Evelyn wasn't here for reason. "We voted," she said, "and you've got 2 weeks to tear it down, or we will." Her sidekicks nodded like this was gospel, and I smiled, already imagining the legal fireworks. Instead of dismantling the shed, I set up trail cams and motion sensors, then dug up Grandpa's old survey markers, rusted stakes that screamed defiance at Pine Hollow's delusions. Sure enough, they escalated. A laminated private HOA property sign appeared zip-tied to my oak tree. I left it there, bait for the cameras. At 4:17 a.m., 5 days later, my phone pinged with footage of 2 contractors, hired by Evelyn's crew, prying open the shed and swiping my tools. I flipped on a remote spotlight, and they bolted like startled deer, one tripping into a ditch. The next day, I handed the video to a deputy friend, who laughed so hard he nearly dropped his pen while writing the citation. Evelyn doubled down, sending a certified letter accusing me of inciting unrest and slapping me with a $4,200 fine, plus $150 daily for noncompliance. I nearly choked on my coffee, reading her claim that I was hostile to Pine Hollow's spirit. But here's the twist. Pine Hollow's HOA was drowning. Public records showed a crumbling clubhouse, a dry fountain, and unpaid landscapers. Better yet, it wasn't a true HOA, but a property owners association under quirky county law, meaning its assets could be sold if the board dissolved or if someone bought their debt. So I got to work. I called a lawyer friend, Mia, who lived for messy property disputes. We bought the HOA's biggest liens, giving me voting power. At a special board meeting, I called in their own clubhouse now. Technically, mine 5 board members showed up, sweating. I laid out their financial ruin. Lawsuits, liens, no insurance. My offer? Dissolve the HOA, sell me the common areas, and walk away clean. Or I'd foreclose on their picnic tables. The vote was 4-1. Evelyn didn't take it well. She pounded on my door, waving bylaws like a holy relic, screaming, "You can't buy a neighborhood." I pointed her to the fine print she'd ignored. She turned purple. Then she got personal filing complaints about my cat, my mailbox color, even my porch light's disruptive glow. Her final move was a failed petition to rezone my land as a public park, costing me $12,000 in legal fees. So, when I bought Pine Hollow's clubhouse, pool, and trails, I turned them into the Willow Grove Reserve Private, permit-only access. Permits were free, except for Evelyn and her petition cronies. She called the news. They yawned. She called the mayor. He chuckled. She tried an emergency HOA meeting in my parking lot until I reminded her I owned it. Then came the drone. High-end, 4K, buzzing my cabin like a spy plane. Trail cams traced it to Evelyn's backyard, her yellow patio table a dead giveaway. I reported it to the FAA for illegal surveillance. She got a federal visit and the drone vanished, but not her fight. Evelyn rallied a Save Our Community campaign, complete with a tearful news segment about losing her kid's park. She has a yappy dog named Muffin. No kids. Neighbors grumbled her fines for things like unapproved flower pots had worn them thin. I countered with a barbecue on my land. Food trucks, live music, 200 guests. Evelyn crashed it, passing out flyers. I asked, trespassing again? The crowd laughed her off. Her last stand was a lawsuit, defamation, emotional distress, the works. Her lawyer, not her cousin this time, called me a community saboteur. My attorney, Mia, shredded them with evidence. Drone footage, Evelyn's unhinged emails, even her nephew's fake landscaping invoices. The judge tossed the case in 15 minutes, fined Evelyn $20,000 for harassment, and flagged her HOA fraud for state review. She left the courtroom silent, defeated. But Evelyn wasn't done. A glittery sign appeared. Phase 2 begins. She launched a bake sale for a reclamation fund, dreaming of buying my land via a community trust. Delusional. I threw Willow Fest, a permitted arts festival with 400 attendees. Evelyn showed up, yanked my projector's plug, and got escorted out to booze. A viral video of her meltdown hit 100,000 views. She moved away months later. Her house sold to a potter who joined the reserve. The neighborhood bloomed gardens, art classes, no fines. I sat on a trail bench one evening, watching kids chase fireflies, and a new neighbor said, "This place feels free." I nodded. It wasn't always. What would you do if someone tried to control your land with petty rules? Should neighbors have the power to dictate your property's use? Or is freedom worth fighting for? Comment below, like, and subscribe for more stories of standing your ground.